I'm sorry that I tried to log in about. Thank you. I tried to log in about 2 hours ago. It worked, so I thought uh, all the technologies went wrong with us. But I have one more suggestion. Try to go through the slides using my laptop screen because I disconnected from the to get this working. So as thank you for the very generous introduction by Prasad, and thank you inviting me to talk to you about the electricity market structures and experience from Australia. This is a very informal presentation. I'm sure there are many people who I personally know in the audience, so don't take it very seriously. If you have questions, stop me and ask anytime, or we can have a chat at the end. Uh, about EMO quickly, what Australian Energy Market Operator is. We are the electricity market operator and the gas market operator of the most of the Australia. Uh, so basically, network and market and the power system operations, equivalent to a system control center, probably the role, that kind of a thing, or in normal jargon we call them independent system operators. I'll talk more about it later. A few housekeeping issues. I am presenting this as my own. It's not nothing. All the things I am saying are my own views. Not. They don't reflect EMO's official views. All the information is from public sources. I did not use EMO internal data sources for this presentation, so they are all publicly sourced. Last thing is that, as Prasad says, I teach a course called Electricity Market Structures at the University of Wollongong. These slides are mostly based on the introductory chapter of that course. So I'm not going to technical details here, giving only a high level overview. If anyone wants to talk more details, please call me privately and have a chat, or we can organize another chat. But this is very high level for a general audience. Topics, what we are going to cover today. What are the market-based electricity industries like? What structures, reasons? And then I'm talking about the name. Name stands for National Electricity Market. That's the technical name for electricity market name. And I'm going to quickly talk about future time. I know we are already late, but we'll try to cover as much as we can. Quickly, a few things to start with. Uh, 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 the the basic stuff. We already know this, but we'll quickly talk about few the main point of electricity is that the product what we are talking about, why I'm talking about them is whether markets work or not with the product. Like we know the markets work for potatoes, market works for tea, market works for coal or whatever, but whether the market will work. The main point is that electricity can't be stored in bulk quantities. People who probably learned from Professor Sam Karnar at University of Moratuwa heard this hundreds of times, him saying that it's challenging now because there are grid scale batteries, but still it's not big enough. Power flow generally uncontrollable. That means power doesn't go according to the our contracts. Power goes according to the Kirchhoff law. So practically line flows can't be done like any other business. If you are transporting any other product, you put a ship and ship goes from A to B as you decided. But however, it doesn't do that. It obeys physics, not contracts. Electricity has very long investment time, expensive to build. There's a lot of political and regulatory involvement. There are major externalities, mainly carbon emissions. There are problems of a good market. Markets are hard to work, have externalities like that, long investment lead time and stuff. But one good thing about electricity is it's a generic product. That means it doesn't matter whether you buy electricity from who you buy from, it's the same thing. So it's like, say you buy sugar, you can buy sugar from anybody, it's practically same sugar, although they may come in different bags and different packets. So basically it's a generic products, or generic products are very good for markets because it can be easily done. Electricity product, specific thing about electricity is very large production cost. Production cost is zero or very low for hydro and probably renewable energy, but production cost is very large if you think about gas or coal. So therefore, it's also a unique thing in electricity. Why we are talking about it? We are looking at this from the market point of view. Uh, Now I got stuck. I'm going to share it again because my there are three market models. One are vertically integrated, one are market based. Vertically Lanka, that means generation, transmission, practically distribution, and even there are other variations, but generally speaking, market based in people. I'll talk about that later. There are different some market based independent power producers. Sri Lanka has them, I think, and they are combined in Australia. They are called gentailers as a joke because their generation transmission. Uh, how markets work or why markets work is that they allow price to decide the coordination rather than rules. For example, what a rules means that government emit more than this much of carbon. Australia sometimes saying government says you can't use water to water rules decide how much you can use or not. I'm sure in Sri power at some times. That's a rules based control. That's done in authoritarian economies like in communist countries in the past, but in some situation in other countries as well. The examples I gave you, power cuts or even water cuts. We have a different way of doing it. We coordinate things using the price. So when and that will encourage people to consume less. Of course, there's you need a safety net for people. This works. History of in about early 80s in Chile and Argentina. Build new generation and other stuff. They went to lending agencies, World Bank, or I don't know, IMF, maybe World Bank, I think, and they suggested we don't want to give money for a government in theory inefficient. It's not a political statement. I'm saying it generally speaking, government-owned industries are inefficient compared to private sector, not because of corruption or anything, but being government, you have more responsibility speaking inefficient. So they sort of force them to have a then the best, probably the biggest election that's after Margaret Thatcher's reforms in they worked reasonably well, and then electricity was done in 90. Margaret Thatcher is already gone, but however, that's part of that English model market in 96. Australia started regional market in 98. Have many markets. They probably started in 90s. This history of and many other countries around the world. Modern electricity market is generally considered to be this Professor Bill Hogan from this model a long time ago. This paper is from 1993, but he thought that there will be generation companies, which we call GenCos in this co or transmission companies in the middle, and there's a pool. We'll talk about water pool market later, and then the distribution customers buy from distribution companies. Now, distribution company, I think is Leco in Sri Lanka. They are not the big generation station to cities, but they buy from a and distribute it to local areas. We used to have Sri Lanka a long time ago, but then Leco was doing similar things. So that's the model proposed by 1993 by Bill Hogan. It's the same, which we have a GenCos, which are generation TNSPs, transmission network service providers, are the transmission show sometimes 2 or 3 in each state. Australia has the New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, so forth. So they have different and there are one or more distribution companies in each state or each province. EMO, the Australian Energy Market Operator, run the on top of that. What a pool market is, I think since I'm know who your producer is, electricity, it's not it's the same. So that's how we buy milk in Australia. We buy milk from hundreds of different farmers, and every consumer in the supermarket, the milk has the supermarket's name or some other company's which cow, which region actually gave the milk. Doesn't matter, right? So pool markets are the what we EMO is the pool market operator. On top of distribution company, basically we have what we call full retail competition. Try to change my retailer from one company to another company by giving. It's like you probably have mobile phones in Sri Lanka. You can change the phone supplier and put a new chip or something, right? New SIM card anytime without any problem. But that's not very common in other countries. But Australia we have it. But so the retail and distribution are two different things. Net transmission network service provider and distribution network service provider. Facilitate that. Not go too much about it. The word pool I explained. Bilateral. People don't sell to the pool, but people buy from somebody else. So you sign a contract with somebody and buy that. So it's like probably how 50 years ago, basically you had to find somebody with a car and then you have agreement with them, they come and bring you milk. So that's a bilateral. We have every farmer, every cow has a direct connection with few customers, so they sell milk to them. Supply and sell to the people. You have milk when you're in demand. Contract with the milk, whether even you are ready or not. Like if you are sick, you don't want milk, but your agreement is there. Nodal and regional markets is nodal every transmission node. That means we are talking about high voltage transmission node. Markets practically price is same for the whole state or whole country. And forward markets prices may be decided day ahead. A few hours ahead, real-time markets prices are calculated live. Discussions about that, but I'm just telling you there are different ways of doing it. So there are multiple market models. Now to the talk about the electricity Australian market. I'm sorry, this is very difficult to get feedback in a presentation like that. Is Prasad, I will continue then, if not. Okay, I'll continue. As I said, there's a go ahead.
Subodha has raised his hand.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see the screen because I have one more.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you for the presentation, sir. I had a quick question.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, I'm asking because in Sri Lanka we have a completely different system. So just out of
Yeah.
curiosity, you mentioned that you can just pick up the phone and call any electricity supplier just like that.
Yeah.
But in that case, if multiple houses are connected, how does the economics work? Like when you get from one person to the other, how does the cost structure react to that? And how do you monitor that you're getting from supplier A versus supplier B?
Interesting question, and it's a topic itself. But however, I will try to answer. It's amazing how they do it. Like me having a small house, that means my electricity I can look at every 5 minutes how much I'm consuming. Like Sri Lanka, my meter was read every 3 months, sometimes even. So I'm in a 5 minute market. The retailer I am buying electricity from the pool market every 5 minutes. So, but so same feeder, if you like, there's a the substation and there are supplies, say 1,000 houses. They may those houses may be buying electricity from 20 different retailers, small retailers as well. So how it's done is simply by monitoring and profiling. So we have data for a long period of time from the start of the date, and by using the estimate, it's not an exact science. So we know the 3 monthly electricity consumption. So it's done in good faith by having a very complex metering algorithms which actually estimate how much power each retailer is responsible. For example, I'm saying that that feeder, let's say, I just make it up a number, say 1 megawatt in that pool every 5 minutes. And then you need to divide to these 1,000 houses and then decide which retailer owns which house, and then it's done all using statistics. It's a very difficult problem to solve, but it's done very well in all electricity markets. There are no real complaints. I am getting my by between retailers saying why it's high. It's a roundabout of answer, but it's yeah, it's done by statistics and by algorithms.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I will. Yeah, I can talk to you more high level in this meeting. I'm just going to give that. Thanks very much. Because I can't see anybody because I have only one small laptop monitor because they need I go to network. Okay, I'll quickly talk about who's responsible in Australia. There's an energy. It's called Ministerial Council of Energy. Now it's called Energy and Climate Change Ministerial Council. I told you that we have a state government based. There's a federal government, but there's a state government as well. So Commonwealth means federal government. So it's a responsibility for states. So this committee is looking at climate change from each state. Actually, New Zealand is also there. They are the policymakers. So don't think that Sri Lanka politicians matter too much. It's same in every country. Energy is so important. Politicians set the policy and this energy and climate change ministerial council is the basic. It used to be called COAG. It's sometimes it's called different names, but it's basically body of people. There are others like Energy Security Board and others, but they are not relevant. But the main three are Electricity Market Commission, which makes the electricity rules, EMO, which enforces the rules and electricity law, and EMO, which is the company I'm working for. We are the system operator. They are like, if you think AEMC is like the parliament, which makes the rules. And then the judiciary, like Supreme Court, who interpret the rules, enforce the rules, or help to do that. EMO is like the civil service. We can't make the rules, we can't punish anybody, but we enforce the rules. So they are the three bodies in Australia who who run the market. So basically, and then they pass into EMO to implement, and EMO implement looks at it, and if they think EMO or somebody else is, they ask why, they inquire it, and they make. So I'm not 100% at it in Sri Lankan sense, but yeah, I know there's a regulatory bodies in Sri Lanka as well, but as easy as in Australia. But mainly understand that this is a collaborative thing because it's a state. The rules are national by agreement. Probably same story. We have generators. This is supply chain, of course. Transmission. Now, generation mostly privately owned. There are one by state governments, one in Queensland, or sorry, two or three in Queensland, Wales Victorian border called Snowy, and one in Tasmania. Most of transmission companies again, but 50-50 in government-owned transmission companies, but other states. They are the one who take the power and sell to the houses. And as this diagram shows, some houses can sell power back because if you are to solar, others directly buy them. The can buy one thing, factories and others can sell it back. So that's this. Most of these graphs come from regulator AER's State of the Energy Market Report. The AER. Quickly about the same thing, but however, it's probably important. Full market. That means, in theory, one price for Queensland, one price for Tasmania, one price for Victoria. Price changes every 5 minutes, but whole state has a single price. And for losses, so we don't have a nodal market as theory says. We have marginal cost. We every generator can, but we settle on the marginal cost price. I will talk more about it, but something important to think about it. Congestion management, there are thermal limits, stability limits, system strength limit, a lot of, so we manage them using security constraints. There are ancillary services. FCAS stands is practically governor control and which is AGC control. So that's a main frequency supply demand balance. There's a transmission market. There are, they only transfer power. They bid into the market. They only change power if the price is more than what they ask for. Instruments, which are hedge contracts between people. So to manage buyer insurance, we'll talk about a little bit that more later as well. So that big customers like big aluminium smelters, big industries basically buy price they are happy to sell. In theory, customers can bid how much they want to buy and what price they want to bid, but practically it's very weak in the current market. Basically, they just say, I want how much, this much of energy. They don't really put a price. The price is infinite effectively. Then emo run the dispatch engine. I will talk dispatch engine later, and send back dispatch instructions to both parties. We tell them that okay, you need to generate this much, and we can tell customers you can generate this much. That's the power flow. Generators and customers take from the pool. Pool means the transmission network. In this, generators sell, put the power to the transmission network. It goes every by them. They all do as per EMO's dispatch instructions. Money, customers pay EMO probably weekly. We do the and EMO pays the generators. Right now, we are probably talking about $30 billion a year kind of money transfer here. 20 billion few years ago, maybe 30 to 40 billion probably now. Billion with the B dollars per year of money transfer. So EMO is a highly important financial company as well. As I said, there are it's a pool market. You don't buy directly, but you can have a financial contract insurance. You can buy an insurance between a generator and customer. Transaction in the pool, when the prices are too high, generators might pay them. When the prices are too low, customers may pay them. Again, it's a we have, as I said, we have 5 regions. Roughly the demand, again, the numbers don't matter much in this discussion. There are interconnections between regions, different limits. So the this is like a peak demand day, right? So rough snapshot of what we can do. Dispatch 5 minute. We take the right now. We decide what's the demand in the. We run the dispatch engine and send the instructions I told you. But however, if you can't do anything else which power trans, we need to decide when you want to switch on your coal power stations, which takes days to start, or other systems, or how much water you manage. Run what we call 7-day pre-dispatch. We 7 days ahead, every half hour for the next 7 days, we do a rough dispatch so people know coming up. And then the official pre-dispatch covers 2 market days, today and tomorrow. And the 5-minute pre-dispatch covers about dispatch. So only binding thing is dispatch. There's no money runs. They are just for indication only. Money used in the pre-dispatch day ahead, but we don't do it. These ones are information only, and we dispatch next. So I said this runs every 5 minutes, covering the next 5 minutes. We have ex ante market. That means people know. So we decide the price now for the next 5 minutes. Later, dispatch engine to decide how much each load need to consume, how much each HVDC, how much those lines need to carry. AC lines you don't need the physics, right? Ancillary services, we we also calculate the prices. The word name dispatch engine. This is my specialty actually. This is the optimization algorithm, which basically try and find optimal dispatch to minimize the production cost indicated by bits. So it provides trained economic dispatch. It find the best answer without it maximize the value of trade by minimizing the production cost. That's again economic term if you don't know much about it, but we minimize the production cost. But we don't care who makes money. We minimize the cost to the country. It's a linear programming optimization problem. Most of the engineering grads probably know what a linear programming optimization problem is. It might be. So in theory, it has the 25,000 variables linear programming sense. We solve it using a commercial. So this gives you the answer every time, every 5 minutes. What happens? So we run it again and again every 5 minutes. Uh, Again, the inputs which I went faster now say and EMO forecast regional demands. Bulk customers indicate bulk customers means like here I'm talking about 500 megawatt or 1000 megawatt kind of industries. Tell us what their demand. Network, the transmission companies, TNSP stands for transmission, indicate how much they have the network. They tell us there are security providers, which I told you there are privately owned lines, which how much money they need to transfer for us to use their line. Generator submit bids, that means price and quantity. I'll talk about their technical limits. Wind and solar by forecasting their how much wind they can do. So because basically their forecasting can't be done very early, right? Because we need to know how much. Uh, they can bid for next day now for every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes for 20, so 288 bids per day for their energy. Band, so they might say this I'm a 500 megawatt generator. I bid at a minus $1,000. I'll talk about why they are minus later. $30, next 100 I'll $40, next 100 maybe I'm 50. You can block your generation capacity in bands and bid. So the band curve is that you probably see this graph, but that's okay. Here is about minus 9. Uh, so this is a diagram of that interface. So interval 1, 405 to that means 405 clock to 405 5 minutes. Generator says I have 350 mega PASA, don't worry about it. They say how much their ramp rate, megawatts per minute is their ramp rate, how much they can move. At minus $1,000, they bid 180, 62 cents, they 460, like that. Finally, at 15,000, so you see the difference. They bid some at minus 1,000, some at very high. Before we go further, why would do you think a generator bid negative? Anyone want to answer just to break the monotony? Anyone can think why why generators bid at negative? The I told you we have a marginal cost based market. That means what we marginal cost of the system, not what they bid. So they can bid at minus 1,000. If somebody bid at high price, they are the marginal unit. They get that. So that's the one reason. Second reason is this probably not. I don't know exactly what it is. Uh, they don't want to shut down because we change the things every 5 minutes. So at say $30, which they want to do, if the price goes down, they have to shut down because EMO says you are too expensive, shut it down. Start if even it's a gas turbine. If it's a coal power station, it will take to shut down, so they bid negative. This concept came from nuclear power stations bid always negative. So therefore, that losing money in the energy market because they get paid carbon certificates. So their actual marginal cost is negative. Profit is negative. Anyway, so this example of how they do it, but so they need to decide it, and they can change them every 5 minutes if they want to. Final bit curve again. Apologies, my scales are probably not visible here. Minus is about 3,800. It has a notch. It goes up and about 10,000 megawatts. Price can go to 2,000. It can actually go to 15,000. This is a regional in New South Wales on particular day in 31st of May, between 7 and 7:05. Now, so this is basically I took all the bids from sales and stacked them together, because earlier graph I showed you, this is one generator's data. If you add everyone's bids, you have this mix. I'm sure engineers who are in this audience probably heard about the supply demand curve in the IEEE or whatever. What you do is then, in theory, I draw manually, just draw a line. That's the demand curve. Why it's vertical? Complexity of demand for the real customers, they are vertical. But there can be some consumers, some who will consume when the price is very low or negative. Probably battery is low. Pump hydro plants might pump water up. I just draw the curve. It's not a real number. And curve meets here, that sets the price. Say price is 300 in. Everyone, irrespective of their bid, get $300. Maybe 295 to 301 or something. You bid negative as long as marginal price is positive. So this encourage people to bid at their real cost margin, because they know they get paid. That's how the market works. So basically, effectively, everyone in New South Wales is that time, if the demand curve is this one is correct, per megawatt hour. Congestion management, there are security limits. So I'm sure you know that power engineers know that who working for CEB, because maintain without overloading. In Australia, we have this what we call N-1. System should be able to withstand loss of any. So therefore, that's why it's called N-1. There are stability limits. There are system strength issues. So the dispatch engine, these relationships, we derive them as a linear relationship generators and interconnectors and put them into that. Was only about constraints. So so I'm just giving a doing a by making it simple, but however you need to understand that. Prasad, is that okay to me to continue? I know it's about gone by 1 hour now, or you want to stop soon?
I think so. We can continue.
Okay, yeah. A bit late, but yeah, I will send the slides to Prasad. I want to go early, but I will quickly go security constraints. Thank you. Uh, yes, I will quickly talk about renewables because some of you probably in MDE, the dispatch engine, I told you, still calculate a level flag. If the flag is yes, they cannot go above the they had more wind than they thought or more sun than they thought. If the flag is not set, they can do whatever they like. So we call them semi. Like other generators are dispatch. We tell them what to do. Wind and solar farms, we tell them a number and we tell them whether they are and that if they have more wind, they can go down without a problem. So that how we do it. That works very successfully. I said 16 gigawatt. I will show you some ancillary services. We have to control. There are a lot of services in the market we buy. It's a different topic. I'm not going to go detail because we will. Other expect I said there are privately owned lines and now quickly I will give you some few slides about. Then we will take few questions. In retail prices are going up. Actually, it gone up this week about 20%. Reduced average demand. I'll plot it the dark curve and what's happening. We are retirement of aging plants. Shareholders are telling them to shut down their coal power stations. Do it, but the shareholders are saying no, we don't want. A lot of renewable energy generation probably means they are in the weaker spots in the grid. People put a solar farm not where the grid is strong, so they create a lot of challenge plus inertia, system strength, governor control kind of issues. I say about 27 cents per kilowatt hour. I think it went up 35 cents last week, but these are a bit older numbers. Now, energy wholesale cost. Energy is actually about 1/3 of that cost. Nearly half come from network costs and the retailer's margin. So I know I heard that in CB or in Sri Lanka, bigger portion of this pie, but however, these are the numbers. Sure, what we call energy cost may not be the same thing, but however, cost, but the transmission costs, network costs. Prices 2010 to 2000 price. This is the average for the year. So they were 10, probably it went up to even $100. The averages are about in 2022 again very high. So we have an increasing wholesale price as well. That's the reason why retail prices are going up. Or one dark curve. This is a daily curve. 12 o'clock morning, 12 o'clock in the midday, 6 p.m. These are numbers we published in 2019 from real emo. I did not want to use the real data. I used published sources, so I used that in 2019. However, down. Actually, this year we have some half hours. India is one state in Australia. Demand is negative. Means all the demand in the country was met by, and if they have too much, they sell back to the grid, and it. So we have huge problem is this demand curve, where midday when the sun is very high demand, and when that happens, coal power stations big issue we are facing. How do you solve it? With storage. That is and pump hydro to charge or generate and generate at the other time. We have a lot of black coal, solar, probably very close to that, gas energy. And 1 in 3 houses have rooftop solar. About 5 years now, 3 to 5 years. So if you invest money to put a solar, you probably get money back in about 5 years. Usage, coal 2010 to 2021, coal didn't change that much. Down, black coal is sort of stable, but rooftop solar is there, is taking a lot, and the solar farms also taking a bit of energy now, and hydro is common. So look, this is the actual energy. Other one was the capacity. Gas large scale generation certificates. Basically, LGC is equivalent to equal to 1 megawatt hour of energy generated by LGC is a 1 megawatt hour, if you like, if you generate. Retailers buy and sell people. They need to buy LGCs to. That means they have to surrender LGCs to match their demand. They have to pay a penalty. At the moment, penalty is $65 non-taxable. So what they do is either they have their own renewable energy plants, or they go and buy LGCs from. There's a market for that. The price went to even to 90. That's before. Now we have about $65 cap. So this is 2014. This. So prices were roughly about $40. Now it's going $5 now. So this is the carbon price, if you like. So the retail, from the wholesale market, buy carbon credits. But in addition to that, some private buy LGCs to cover our demand. So we surrender voluntarily. They don't need to do it. They voluntarily do it, and they claim they are might go and buy their products from carbon neutral, from people. Again, these are public data, so I got it from them. Transition 2050. Coal power stations, way they are going, we have none very soon, but there are different under this coal step change scenario, which is a large variation. We think storage can go from 2 to about sorry gigawatts. Excuse me. Uh, wind and solar 161 9-fold increase, 30-fold rooftop solar maybe 5 times more, little bit more, coal will go to zero. That's the one prediction. Storage, we have large grid scale battery, largest in the world in 2017, Hornsdale battery. 15 or so now. There are about 80 projects on the books to come by 2026. Some may not happen, but they are in the there are some solar and wind farms with the battery on the side. A lot of work going on the battery storage area. Pump hydro, we have about 15 lots of pump hydro already. So these are pump hydropower stations and generate when the price is high. There's a project called which is going to add about 2,000 megawatt of pump hydro soon with 350 gigawatt of storage. The Queensland energy plan has 6,000 megawatt of pump hydro. Manage that duck curve issue because wind and solar, when we have energy, we may not have it when we want it, so we need storage to manage that. Now they are my slides. Thank you very much. I know I went minutes over, but I started about 20 minutes late as well. Want to say is that Australian electricity market, successful electricity markets, it was pretty stable. Most changed. English market changed a lot, and some American market was pretty stable for a long time. We have it up to now. It did not, but we don't have the control experiment to say what would have. But however, I'm pretty sure the reason for we have energy is the market, because when we pay the market clearing, which can be $300 sometimes even. I showed you a graph earlier about price graph. $60 when their marginal cost is actually even get $40 from the carbon credits. Investment is so much in Australia. We have and wind farms. But so market actually is the economy, I think. It's still work in progress because we are changing every day. We are doing reforms, new stuff every day. So, but however, had for a long time, it's going like that. Sharing slides. Prasad, shall we have a couple of questions?
Yes, sir. So thank you. And we can have some questions now. If you have any questions, please raise those questions. Dr. Akila Vijayatunga, you can go ahead.
Sir, for the yes, thank you for the nice basic question. Is there a minimum demand value that you think about the Sri Lankan context? If you are going to have the regional, if there is a minimum demand value that is.
All right. So you are saying that work can markets work
Yeah.
for a smaller system? That
Yes,
kind of question.
exactly.
So, like when Singapore market was started, uh, or people who I knew were the consultants there. They have a it means price change at every node. I was saying what they're talking about Singapore, probably end to end is maybe 5 kilometers. How do you have nodal market? It works very well. I'm not saying in Singapore demand is low. In Singapore's demand is very high, high probably level of economy and plus lifestyles. But we don't think there's a minimum. However, however, they cost money, right? So therefore, there's a probably critical mass, like number, it's not worth it probably. So I don't know. Maybe donate that for Sri Lanka, right? You might get the software free from some country or something, so that might help. Yeah. Now to answer that is, I don't think there's a limit, but it's there's a cost. Have their systems and set up software and
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Thank you so much. That
Thanks. Now I know Sri Lanka about restructure, right? Unfortunately, I don't know anything about it. What's the proposal or what they are going to do? Or I don't really want to comment about it. Or I'm not taking any side. But however, Australian markets, the life of Australian markets, 90 industry was owned by state governments, so it was not private. It was a government. New Zealand market, it was 100% owned by government companies. So I'm saying markets versus privatization. You don't need to privatize to have a market. You can have efficiently uh, bidding and at time uh, and all owned by government. Queensland, almost all generation is owned by the state government owned. They pay huge amount of dividends every year to the government at the end. Yeah. So that another question, probably one or two, maybe. I think I'm again apologies for the rush at the end.
Uh,
That, however, for being patient and coming here. As I said, it's already very topics I discussed, or they themselves topics. But if any one of you, either from the CEB or any other area who like to talk to me about more detail, please contact me. Either you probably have my email address or give it to you. And then I'm happy to understand it more, but not to take a side, what to do or what not to do. But because what we need is the decisions taken by reasons rather than just. So therefore, please contact me and talk. Want to talk about it. Uh, I more know because I work in the market for about 20 years now. But if you have a specific question, I can. If I don't know, I can talk to people outside who know about it and then give you the answer. Thank you very much for your time and appreciate to do this talk. Prasad, over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So thank you for your talk. Actually, our the secretary of our society, Sri Lanka chapter, Ms. Charitri is ready for the vote of thanks. So Charitri, please.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Dr. Prasad, and thank you presentation. Because as an engineer, electrical engineer, we need to know how different electricity market gave us a very eye-opening presentation. And myself, I have definitely contact you to get more details. So thank you very much for taking time to educate us on a very like a very
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. See you.
See you.
Okay, thank you all.